Here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little dull on radio.
Is it live?
From Ruffino's on Highland Road, welcome to the Friday edition, the Football Friday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with former Tiger Richard Dickson is going to be a part of our show again this year. Jimmy and Max will take the last 2 hours of the show today from Las Vegas as the Circa opening weekend begins. They were out there yesterday. They'll be out there for the last 2 hours of the show today, but for the first hour, it's us here in the Hidden Pour. We are in the back bar area, which has been kind of their auxiliary bar as they are putting the finishing touches on the main bar to start the football season, and our Eat the Competition dinner, which is Sunday night and has only 8 tickets left available. So if you'd like to be part of this 5-course meal with wine pairings, Gordy and I will be out here doing an LSU preview. We'll be taking questions from the audience. It's a great time. We've enjoyed this event for a number of years in a row now. If you want 8 tickets left, call for Chelsea, 753-3458. 753-3458. Tickets, when they're gone, they're gone. So we hope that you can make it out. We expect another full house on Sunday night. Sunday night at 6. Great way to kick off the season. Rich, how you doing, man?
We're almost there.
Or should I call you Coach?
Oh, man.
You are now coaching your son's flag team?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I've tried to stay away from coaching for the most part. I help out. It's just, when you're coaching flag, it's everything against you've been taught to do in tackle.
Right.
I'm not that guy, but no, it's fun. We're going to have a good time, and the Lions are back. They get to be the Lions this year.
The Lions? Okay. Well, that's who you played with. You got your depth chart, your ones, your twos,
Got all 8 of them figured out. We're good.
We're tracking them, okay?
I'll let you know.
I'm not going to let Jimmy put a line on any of the games, but we're going to root for you guys.
Yeah, if he's going to put a line on it, that's pretty tough with the mental capacity of 7- and 8-year-olds, but we'll get there.
Well, we're rooting for the Lions. You and I are we're going to go through where we think LSU is a week out to the opener, but yesterday was a red letter day for me. Something that I've been hoping for a very long time, something I've been talking about for a very long time, going back through multiple commissioners, multiple league expansions, multiple schedules, and finally we are at a point where I think they're pretty close to getting this right. Yesterday, the SEC announced that they're going to go to a 9-game schedule starting next year. So why yesterday, and how did this all come about? Well, when the league added Oklahoma and Texas, going to 9 games seemed inevitable. But there were 2 things that the league wanted before they were going to acquiesce to this. Number one was they wanted more money for their television rights, and ESPN agreed to that earlier this year. So that's an additional 9 games of inventory, and they wanted some assurances that they were going to get compensation for that. Okay, that got done. Nothing's free, pal. The second one just got done really on Wednesday. It was just announced on Wednesday, and it was the decision by the CFP to use the enhanced strength of schedule metric. This was a big point of contention last year when SMU got in and South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Alabama didn't. Before the league was going to pin 9 more losses on their member schools, they were going to make sure that they were rewarded for playing a tougher schedule. I'm not going to go through all of the gory details of this enhanced strength of schedule. Just know this: you're going to get more credit for playing good teams, and you're going to get hit harder if you lose to bad teams. What good teams and bad teams are, look, again, that's a huge metric. They've been fighting about this since the first football was, blown up, I guess, what these strength of schedule metrics mean. But until that got done, the league wasn't going to add 9 more losses because they saw what happened last year. SMU had 2 losses. Those 3 teams I just told you had 3 losses. End of story. If that was going to be the way that they were going to do this criteria, then the league was like, fine, we'll stay at 8 games. So they got their money. They got their schedule metrics that they wanted. Now all they got to do is figure out a format. Well, the devil's in the details, right? The league announced that they would have 3 permanent opponents for every school. I think that's good. Is it the best thing they could have done? No. I would have been in favor of 1 permanent opponent because I don't think that many rivalries need to be protected. I think Alabama should protect Auburn. I think Georgia should protect Florida. I don't think that you should get to protect 2 or even 3 rivalries in this league. I think the Egg Bowl should have been protected. I think that Texas and Oklahoma should be protected. But I don't think that there are 25 games that have to be played every year. I lost that argument. I will take that for the trade-off is that you're swapping out a win for an SEC game. So I'll take the 3 permanent opponents.
But did you hear what he said on the morning show with Matt and Hester was that he didn't want to call them permanent opponents because he said so often rivals have changed. And he went back to LSU and Ole Miss back in the day, then LSU Arkansas, then LSU Florida, LSU Alabama. He goes, things kind of work themselves out to where rivalries have changed. So he said that they're going to be set schedules for 3, but it's going to be up to review if it's not really one of the main games anymore.
And that is the best news that I could have heard. Because for a long time, there's always sort of been a demarcation line in the league between the top half and the bottom half. When you had 10 teams in the league, it was Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Georgia, and then depending on what year you looked at, if you're in the 70s, LSU or Florida, and then into the 80s and all the way to 92 when they redid the schedules when they expanded to 12. So it was kind of like 6 and 4. Then when they went to 12 teams, it was very clear, 6 and 6. When you got to 14, 7 and 7 was a little bit harder, and then when you get to 16. It's really difficult because what teams have done in the last few years compared to what they've done historically, and when they talked about this 2 years ago, they talked about a 10-year period that they were going to evaluate. This is harder because Tennessee's difficult where you put them.
Yeah.
If you put them historically, all time, well, Tennessee's in the top half of the league easy. If you do what they've done the last couple of years, Tennessee's still in the top half of the league easy. If you do what they've done over the last 15 years, well, Tennessee's really not in the top half of the league. And you have to look at this with a little bit of recency, but a lot of long range, a lot of the big picture. Ole Miss last year was better than Oklahoma, okay? South Carolina was better than Florida. And Vanderbilt was better than Auburn. But I don't expect that to be the case, in most years. But it was the case last year. So what do you do with a team like Ole Miss or a team like Tennessee? Are they in the top half of the bottom? It's close, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you take the top half of the league, Alabama and Auburn, LSU and Georgia, Florida, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma. Well, that looks good. But then that puts Tennessee and Ole Miss in the bottom half. What are your 3 opponents? We got a station survey. I think they're publishing it now about who you would like to see as your 3 permanent opponents. I can do this any number of ways for LSU. I think if it were me doing it just for LSU, I would say A&M, one of the 2 Mississippi schools, and one of the 2 Alabama schools. And I would rank the Alabama, Auburn, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State in that order. And I would give LSU 2 of those schools. I'd either give them 1 and 4 or 2 and 3. So you'd have A&M with either Alabama and Mississippi State or Auburn and Ole Miss. That would be me, okay? If they want to do this a different way, I'm not going to die on that hill, okay? I'm finally getting something very close to what I want. So I'm not going to say, look, they got to play Ole Miss every year. They got to play Alabama every year. The problem with playing Alabama, as has been pointed out, is that 2 years ago when they really started talking about this, they said, well, Alabama has to play Auburn every year, and I agree with that. Alabama has to play Tennessee every year, which I vehemently disagree with. And LSU Alabama has been one of the marquee games in the league
for a long time.
15 years at least. Well, that means Alabama's got to play 3 really good teams as their permanent opponents. I think because the league has catered to Alabama's desire to play Tennessee, since Moses was in the desert, that they should be forced to play them now every year. Now that they're actually pretty good, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Give me something in the realm of fairness. Don't give me Texas, Georgia, and Alabama. Okay, and I don't think they will. No. Okay, and likewise, I'm not asking for Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, and Kentucky. That's not fair either. Give me some kind. LSU's in the top half of the league, no matter how you want to look at this. So give me 2 out of the top and 1 out of the bottom. However that shakes out, that would be fair. When this comes out in December, and we're only going to spend the next 3 months speculating about it, then somebody's not going to be happy. I mean, you can't do it. If you get my preferred format is 1 permanent opponent, and those 4 protected games that I talked about, and I would add LSU and A&M would be their permanent opponent, and Missouri and Arkansas. But I get to Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt's got to play somebody. Yeah. Okay, that would be an edge to the Vols, but nothing's perfect. Give me something that's close to fair. Okay, that's all I'm asking here.
I'm good with that too from the top. I mean, you're going to get a lot of varying. I mean, look, A&M is a recent rivalry to me. Like when I think of my playing days, A&M wasn't there. Like
right.
That game doesn't mean a lot to me. Like when you say A&M, I say Florida. Like that would be I'd want Florida, Alabama,
right.
Ole Miss, Mississippi State. One of those would be good with me. But it's going to be like you said. It's all about what's happened recently, and you got to throw in historically as well.
If you ask my grandparents, they would tell you LSU has to play Ole Miss every year. That was the game for a while. Well, I think you have to have some kind of balance. I would like to see a bigger rotation, but again, I got about 90% of what I wanted out of this. I've been on this soapbox since the league bent over backwards in 1992 to make sure Alabama got everything they wanted, and then Georgia and Auburn got the next thing what they wanted, and then they filled in everything, and it wasn't fair. And it wasn't fair when they redid it in 2002, and it wasn't fair when they redid it in 2012. I would like something in the realm of a rotation where everybody plays everybody. And the fact that A&M's been in the league since 2012 and hasn't been to Georgia is ridiculous. So the other thing that this does is it makes sure that everybody plays everybody every second year, and everybody goes to everybody's campus every 4th year. That's a big, big deal. Yeah. I mean, look, growing up in the 80s, Bo Jackson never played in Tiger Stadium, neither did Herschel Walker, neither did Peyton Manning, okay? If guys go pro after 3 years, there's nothing you can do. But every 4 years, you should have everybody come through here. And I just hated that some of the best players, that were 4-year players back then, never made it to Baton Rouge. So the fact that we now have, there's not going to be these 10-year gaps or these 8-year gaps between visits to another campus. It shouldn't be that. If you're in the same conference, it really shouldn't be that way. I could take there was a series of years there where LSU had been to or had played, I think it was Troy. More times than they had played South Carolina.
Nah.
That shouldn't happen. So I'm very happy with about 90% of what happened here. I would have done it a little bit differently, but I got most of what I wanted here.
When you keep adding teams to it, like when I played, if you played for 4 years, you missed one stadium. I never played at Vanderbilt. That's the only stadium in the SEC that I never got to go play
at. You picked the right one to miss.
Yeah, Nashville would have been cool, but I wouldn't got to enjoy it because I was playing anyway.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's the one I got to miss. For me, we can figure out who the permanent opponents are going to be. I'm just excited that you're going to have 10 power conference games this season.
That to me is one of the biggest things about this is we've now whittled down the rental wins to 2. I'd rather it be 1. Actually, I'd rather it be none, but I'm trying to be realistic here. That's the best thing. This will essentially, I hope, eliminate that November week where everybody plays the Citadel or whoever, and it's just like, man, I could deal with this in week 1 or even week 2. In week 10, I don't want to see LSU playing Middle Tennessee. I don't want to see Alabama playing the Citadel. It's a waste of time.
Week 1 and week 7 would be for me. You get a little bit of a rest. You get 6 games in a row. Get a break. Get something to where you can get going. But from now, I mean, the whole point about the rent-a-win games, I mean, you were basically paying for that program. You were giving them money to keep the money in that house. If they did that, I would like to see just keep playing Louisiana school. If you're gonna have two games that you got to play out of the power conferences, Keep him in Louisiana.
And Scott Woodward has indicated that they are going to try very hard to do that. And I think that's great because not only does it pay for those programs, it's another check that's coming to LSU.
Yeah.
And the less you have to pay in your guarantee, Skip Bertman brought this up when everybody went, oh, you can't play UL Lafayette, you can't play. He's like, wait a minute, I'm trying to save a buck here. Lafayette can bus in for the game. I don't have to pay for hotel rooms and flights and all that stuff. And that goes along. That's a bunch of money, okay? It adds up. LSU just had to come up with almost $21 million in revenue share, okay? And if you look at the staff on the football team, it's quite large, okay? All this stuff costs money.
I don't know if it's a joke. I saw a picture. It was like for the first time ever, there's more staff than players.
That's accurate.
That's insane.
And that ain't free.
Yeah.
So, Red Letter Day, I think for the league, for LSU, for college football fans in general, I think this was a great thing. It was a long time coming, but in the 80s and 90s, we used to dream about this stuff. Hey, what if we had, all good games or almost all good games? And what if there was a playoff? And what if some of those playoff games were on campus? And what if we had a true champion and we just hadn't have to leave it up to the pollsters? We're almost there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not exactly how I would have done it. They never call me. But it's really, really close. And I'm really happy today. And people that have listened to me over the years know that I have bitched and moaned about scheduling more than probably any other topic. They got this right. They didn't do it exactly, but this is pretty doggone close. This is a really, really, really good step in the right direction for the league and for college football.
It'll make post-game a lot more fun.
Yeah, I mean, didn't you tell me you didn't look forward to the November rent-a-win post-game? I mean,
those were probably the most miserable ones because they didn't want to watch the second half of the game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we'll watch one of those, especially at the beginning of the season. We don't want to watch. We don't want to watch three. We're here at Ruffino's Restaurant. Opens up here at 11. We're in the Hidden Pour. We've been back here while they are completing their renovations on the main bar, so you can join us back here today for lunch. And also, we'll be opening up the banquet room here on Sunday for the Eat the Competition dinner. This is a 5-course meal with wine pairings included. For instance, they're going to have as your appetizers your arugula roasted peaches and goat cheese candied walnuts. For your next course, it's alligator arancini. That's marinated alligator with a green onion aioli. The third course is the Bama Slander. I love the moniker there, which is a smoked beef with citrus and horseradish aioli, razorback steak, coffee rubbed pork steak with a bourbon blackberry glaze, and the dessert is what they call Death by Chocolate Valley. It is a chocolate espresso dessert. And there's a wine pairing with all of these things. Again, Gordy and I are going to give a preview of LSU's season and, of course, the first game with Clemson. Take questions from the audience. It's a great time on Sunday night at 6 o'clock. Call 8 tickets to go. 8 tickets are left, and then when we're sold out, we're sold out. 753-3458, 753-3458, and ask for Chelsea. Live at lunch from Ruffino's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot. Our doors get more done.
Oh, these polymers aren't as flexible as batch K3.
Researcher Lori is stretched thin.
Did you get the vulcanization analytics from B66? Wait, are these rubber scores from last week?
She needs to hire new lab technicians so she can bounce back into her old self.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our matching platform lets you spend less time searching and more time connecting with candidates. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit.
Just because we wanted to go in the sphere,
Hey, Hanny.
What's that?
Is Tex Moore still a sponsor?
Yeah.
Okay, because that is Lock of the Week was sponsored by Tex Moore.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right, we good.
Switch now and get a free Moto G 2025 with 5G when you activate select plans. Now that's a smart call. Get Straight Talk covered by Verizon's 5G network. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Offer valid through 10/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Purchase of gold unlimited plan or higher required for offer. Must activate the plan in-store at Walmart. Cannot be combined with other offers.
Moms and dads, do you wish you could know where your kids' shoes are at all times? Now you can with Skechers' newest Apple AirTag compatible sneakers, Find My Skechers. There's a clever hidden AirTag compartment under the shoe's insole. It's sleek, secure, and your child can't feel or see it. Then you can check where your kids' shoes are on the Find My app. Plus, they're available for boys and girls. Get Find My Skechers at Skechers.com, a Skechers store near you, or wherever kids' shoes are sold. Apple AirTags sold separately.
Jake and James here from Trash Rangers of Louisiana with more questions from our customers.
Mike and Gonzalez asked, if I switch our residential trash pickup to Trash Rangers, how long of a contract do I have to sign?
That's an easy one. At Trash Rangers, we're so confident that you're going to love our service, our prices, and our communication with you that we don't make our customers sign contracts.
That's right. No contracts and no hidden fees. So make the switch to Trash Rangers today at TrashRangers.com. That's TrashRangers.com.
Don't just work a job, build a career with Custom Security Systems. We've protected South Louisiana for over 48 years, and we're hiring experienced installation and service technicians now. Competitive pay, steady work, and room to grow. Apply today at CustomSecuritySystems.com.
Back to school.
Value Ford has back-to-school savings like $14,000 off MSRP with 4.9% for 72 months on new 2025 F-150 Black Widow SCA trucks. $14,000 off MSRP and 72 months special financing on F-150 plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. Shop BayouFord.com or visit us just off I-10 in La Place. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you. We have second credit financing, 12,000 discount, 2,000 bonus cash at 4951.
Imagine you're hosting the big game watch party when this happens. But you call Boudreaux's Electrical Services before the storm. Family owned and operated for 40 years installing generators in our area. You know your Boudreaux's installed Generac home standby generator would be ready.
Boudreaux's Electrical Service, bringing power and peace of mind to South Louisiana, one Generac generator at a time. Visit Boudreaux'Electrical.com or call 225-300-9389.
At Custom Colors Body and Paint, we're excited to have Will Rapp and Ian McKnight on our team. They're continuing the tradition of exceptional service that Billy Rapp and Pete McKnight began back in 1987. Custom Colors, located in the Industrial Plex off Segan.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
And we're also brought to you by the Morris Insurance Group. Listen up, you're outdoorsmen, if you're looking for insurance on your hunting camp or your fishing camp, on your boat, on your RVs, on your trailers, on your ATVs. If you need help with flood insurance for your coastal properties, big boy toys, and all the insurance that goes along with it, if you've been having a hard time, contact the Morris Insurance Group. Get a quote today at morris-ig.com or call 201-0007. It's 201-0007 here in Baton Rouge. Ask for my man Buzzy Hydell and the Morris Insurance Group. All right, Rich, let's talk roster here for a minute. There's plenty of good to get to, but I want to start with the question that everybody has asked, which is about the offensive line. In your mind, should I feel better that there are competitions going on this deep into camp, which camp is really over. We're into game preparations, or should I? Because there's that many guys that are vying for spots, and like a true freshman, Carius Kern, who's really pushing for a spot just 3 weeks into his first fall camp, or should I feel nervous that the continuity is not there and that there haven't been 5 guys that have stood out from the rest?
I could go either way on this one. I think that the reason I feel good about it is because it seemed like the first half of camp you had 4 starters. I mean, they were looking for another guard, but you had Weston Davis taking every snap at right tackle. You had DJ Chester at left guard. You had Tyree Adams. They were trying to figure it out, but it seemed like there was 4 consistent. And then the last week you go in there and you kind of throw in a curveball where you're talking about trying to figure out that left guard and adding competition at right tackle. I think competition is the best thing for anybody. I mean, when he says there wasn't enough competition for Weston Davis, I mean, that means there wasn't anybody to push him. You want someone to be pushed. I mean, the best years I ever had is when I was worried about somebody behind me. So, I mean, there's a positive in the fact that, competition makes people great. But there's also, this late when you start talking about it, but knowing that there was 4 pretty early on that everybody was comfortable with, and you had Joe Sloan talking about feeling like the tackles were settled and feeling like, the center was settled and one of the guards was settled. So I feel pretty good about it right now.
I feel like Carius Kern is the real wild card here, and I feel about him like I did about Emory Jones's freshman year. Although they're different body types, but they're both primarily tackles. And what I felt about Jones in that camp was he may not start game 1, which he didn't, but it's not going to be long before they get him in the starting lineup. And once they get him in, he's never coming out. And that's how I feel about Kern, who I believe has all conference potential, if not even higher than that. So he may not be out there for the first game as with the first group, but I don't think it's going to be long before he gets in there, whether that's at tackle or at guard. So my question to you is, how much is asking too much of a true freshman to learn left tackle, where he is the backup to Tyree Adams, right tackle now, where he is no worse than the swing tackle as the third guy, and a little bit of guard because he may end up being the guy there too?
That's tough. I mean, the hardest thing transitioning from high school to college is understanding defenses, understanding your assignment. In high school, you're asked to beat the guy in front of you 90% of the time, and that's what you did. So when you're asking the guy to play the tackle position and the guard position, I consider it pretty tough. But if they're asking him to do it and you're getting positive results out of it, I mean, that speaks more to him. I mean, that's specific to each player. He might just completely understand it, and it came out the blocks and gets the tackle position. So they start mixing in some guard. For me, it's tough for 90% of players, but, I don't know him personally. And if they feel comfortable with the guy, I mean, he might just have it.
He's pushing. There's no question that he is going to ram his way into this lineup at some point. I still have a hard time grasping true freshman as starting offensive lineman. Other than quarterback, I think it's the toughest, toughest transition. But it is now a thing. Okay, there's just too much turnover. I tell this story. Alan Faneca redshirted. Okay, the guy's in the Hall of
Almost every
Fame.
offensive lineman used to redshirt.
Over a 25-year period, I think there was one at LSU that started as a true freshman from game 1, and now I don't want to say it's common, but it's at least a lot more common than it used to be.
The first one that I remember was in my signing class and started day 1 at Alabama. I think his name was Andre Smith. I played with him in the All-American game.
Who was the top recruit in the class, if I remember.
He's the biggest recruit in the class. And when I saw him do it, that was a shocker to me. That was the first time we're like, man, you just don't. Offensive linemen usually need a year in the weight room to get up here and play grown man ball. But when you saw him do it, and then you start seeing it later on. Saron Black, he started 4 years, but he was a redshirt guy. Saron redshirted his freshman year, then started for 4 years at left tackle. So, traditionally you need to, but I also think the game's different. High school's different now. These kids, I went to the Central scrimmage last night. Kids are huge. I watched the freshmen. I walked out there after our practice. I see the freshman team out there, and I'm like, man, they're pretty big. And I thought it was the varsity at first. Like just
the freshman team.
The freshman team. I thought it was varsity. These guys are just getting bigger and bigger, and I think the way that the kids are training in high school, the way that people are going to these specialists and going to these camps, and people are camped out. I think people are getting ready sooner.
Let's get to your wheelhouse, the tight ends, because there have been nothing, and the practices I've been to, there have been nothing but glowing reports about the transition that Bauer Sharp has made. We saw him last year at Oklahoma. We know a little bit about him from his time at Southeastern, and he had a very good year last year for Oklahoma. And, of course, Trey'Dez Green, who we know plenty about and has had I would say, an eye-opening camp. You got these two guys to play with in – I think you can do a lot of creative things.
Well, I think Bauer Sharp, and I'm not saying talent-wise because Mason Taylor was outstanding, but he's a direct replacement for Mason Taylor. I think that they're similar build. I think Bauer's 6'5", 245. He's an athletic guy. He's a guy that's he's played the Wildcat quarterback in college. He's got the most college appearances. He's your most veteran guy, and he's a gritty guy. When you go out there and watch some of the film, he's a guy that wants to throw his head in there. And then you go over to Trey'Dez. Trey'Dez is just a freak. I mean, he's 6'7", 240. He's a guy that flies. We talked about him like last year. He had terrible technique, but he had the want to get in there and try to block guys. I think another year in the program, he's understanding that. He's going to understand his body, understand more just technique. I watched him play in high school. He lined out wide and ran a go route every time. So he had a lot more learning curve to get here and understand, getting on the line of scrimmage, understanding who to block, how to use your leverage. So I feel good about those two. Donovan Green, he's the one that's, to me, I haven't been out there, most questions around him because he's a guy that had a lot of production as a true freshman and never started again. All of his starts in his career come as a true freshman, but he's another guy that's 6'4", 250. He's a bigger body guy. The ones that I would love to hear about, and I haven't heard anything much about J.D. LaFleur. I mean, he's their biggest tight end right now. He's 6'7", 255. He's got the frame. He's a guy that I think later in the season could come along as a guy that can get in there and do some blocking.
Yeah, I just think it's one of those deals where there's not room for him to run with certainly not the ones.
It's not the Les Miles offense where we ran out there with 3 tight ends.
No, it's not. Les Miles would have loved Bo Bordelon because I look at Bo Bordelon, who's been running backup right tackle, and I see Josh Durasic, a tall, lean guy that's still in the vicinity of 300 pounds, but could get in there and play offensive line, could also be your third tight. Go swap. I remember Durasic go swap jerseys and he'd be the third tight end, the goal line.
I mean, my whole career we had an offensive lineman that had 2 jerseys on the sideline. There was somebody that's going to swap into an 80 number.
And I think they've got enough tight ends that they're not going to have to do that. But I think they're in pretty good shape there. I think it opens up a huge amount of creative sets that Joe Sloan can do. When you have 2 tight ends that can catch the football the way that they do, and the number of receivers, and we're gonna talk probably about 5 or 6 receivers that are going to see, I think, extensive playing time, and not just in blowouts. I'm talking about in real time. That's just a whole bunch of things.
Just what Trey'Dez Green brings. I mean, look. Last year he played a lot of wide receiver. We kind of moved him back to wide receiver. So I hope that everybody realizes those touchdowns, all of them don't count. That's a little bit receiver side.
I see what you did there.
He got 4 touchdowns on 13 catches. That's not fair.
You're holding on to that touchdown
receiver
record,
stuff right there. That's the last one I got. But just a guy that can do that, a guy that can move like that, that is fluent in playing wide receiver. You can go out there and run 2 tight sets and then move to 3 wide. You don't really, having those 2 guys in the game at one time doesn't dictate what offense you're running.
I'm going to say this a lot probably next week. There are big plays to be made with these guys that we're talking about. This is not, I don't think, a team that's going to be able to line up and just play smash mouth football.
No.
Nor is that necessary. I think the 2019 team never really lined up and smashed you, okay? No. A little bit, okay? But Clyde did most of his damage, in space. I think this team is more like that team. It's a quarterback that wants to throw the ball down the field. It's a lot of talented receivers. It's an offensive line that is still in flux, but I can't expect them to be a bunch of maulers at the point of attack from day one. So let's work your strength. Work the big plays down the field.
I'm good with that. Last year and previous years, what we need though. The only thing is, put your big back in there. Caleb Jackson Durham. I don't want to see pass plays on 3rd and 1. I don't want to see getting cute on 3rd and 1. That's where I want to see a guy that can get in there and they make 1 play, 2 plays that you have that you can go in there and be confident and run a power run up the middle.
I'm not sure you're going to get that, but we'll see. But I'm not. Yeah. We'll see. We're brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners, because when it comes to retirement, no 2 situations are alike. So let Coastal Capital Advisors work with you, your business partners, your legal team, tax professionals to make sure all your retirement goals are achieved. Got a call this afternoon, as a matter of fact, with Phil. Coastal Capital Advisors will work for you. They've been working for me for a long time. Phil Fontenot and his staff. Online, you can contact them, coastalcapitaladv.com, coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, member FINRA SIPC. Live at Ruffino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Hi, this is Coach Brian Kelly. Hollingsworth Richard Ford has been a member of the Tiger Transportation Team since 1990. Since my arrival in Baton Rouge, I've come to know the Hollingsworth Richards family and have been impressed by the environment and culture they have established at their dealerships. When it's time for you to start searching for a vehicle, it's important to do business with someone you can trust. So the next time you're in the market for a new car or truck, make sure you visit Hollingsworth Richards Ford and tell them Coach Kelly sent you. Go Tigers!
Looking for a night out with a purpose? Join us for Defeat Domestic Violence Thursday, October 28th at 6 p.m. at the Renaissance Hotel. Hosted by the Family Justice Center, this night features tastings from local restaurants and open bar, live and silent auctions, and most importantly, your support helps provide critical services to victims of domestic violence in our community. Tickets available now at cafjc.org or at the door. Let's come together and defeat domestic violence. August 28th at the Renaissance Hotel. cafjc.org for details.
At Demco, we know you've got a busy schedule, so we've made it simple to manage your account wherever you are. With My Demco, you can pay your bill, check your usage, and sign up for outage alerts, all from your phone or computer. My Demco helps keep things running smoothly, so you can focus on what matters most. Visit demco.org today to set up your My Demco account. Demco, powering life and community. That's the cooperative difference.
Back to school is on the brain. That means new notebooks, pencils, new everything. And while the kids are getting ready to get book smart, it's time for you to save smart with Straight Talk Wireless. Switch now and get a free Moto G 2025 with 5G when you activate select plans. Now that's a smart call. Get Straight Talk covered by Verizon's 5G network. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Offer valid through 10/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Purchase of gold unlimited plan or higher required for offer. Must activate the plan in-store at Walmart. Cannot be combined with other offers.
Moms and dads, do you wish you could know where your kids' shoes are at all times? Now you can with Skechers' newest Apple AirTag compatible sneakers, Find My Skechers. There's a clever hidden AirTag compartment under the shoe's insole. It's sleek, secure, and your child can't feel or see it. Then you can check where your kids' shoes are on the Find My app. Plus, they're available for boys and girls. Get Find My Skechers at Skechers.com, a Skechers store near you, or wherever kids' shoes are sold. Apple AirTags sold separately.
For nearly 50 years, Gulf Coast Office Products has been Louisiana's trusted leader in office technology, helping businesses in every industry streamline efficiency. As an official partner of the New Orleans Saints and Pelicans, we're committed to delivering top-tier service with flexible leasing options and customized invoicing. With over 100 dedicated employees, we have the expertise to keep your business running smoothly. Call for a free analysis at 225-756-2644. Gulf Coast Office Products, your workforce efficiency lifeline.
Picture your dream bathroom. Got it? How about making it happen with David Duvall and One Bath and Closets? For more than 3 decades, David's been remodeling homes with a concentration on the most popular room in your home, your bathroom. Whether it's a tub-to-shower conversion or a complete renovation, the great thing about One Bath and Closets is that David handles everything. One company, one contractor, One Bath and Closets. Check out the gallery of his most recent projects and schedule your free in-home consultation online at onebathandclosets.com. That's onebathandclosets.com.
Want to see Lainey Wilson live in Baton Rouge this September? Enter NAMI Louisiana's Country for a Cause raffle for your chance to win 2 tickets valued at $900. Just $60 per entry with unlimited chances to enter. Every ticket helps fund mental health programs across Louisiana. Deadline to enter is August 28th, so don't wait. The winner will be announced on August 29th. Visit NAMI Louisiana or call 225-481-9531 to learn more.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Just 8 seats remaining for our Eat the Competition dinner Sunday night at 6 o'clock. This 5-course meal with wine pairings starts at 6 o'clock. Call 753-3458. And as for Chelsea, 753-3458. We've got 8 seats left for Eat the Competition on Sunday night. Rich, on defense, through this camp, I think that there's been a lot of, I don't want to call it surprise, but I don't have a better word, that the defense is this far advanced. Yeah. Okay, we talked about it back when we did the Handycast, the podcast with the transfer class, and we talked about all these guys, and we started going through the depth chart. Like, man, they got a lot of guys. And I added it up the other day. Depending on who starts the opener on the defensive line and in the secondary at safety, you're going to have somewhere between 80 and 95 starts on the second unit for guys that have come in. So with all that, we went through, we showed film on everybody that LSU got back in February. We didn't have any film at the time because they hadn't gotten two guys that may make the biggest impact of all, Bernard Gooden and A.J. Halsey.
Yeah.
Halsey was an all Big 12 player at Houston. Gooden has been close to unblockable at times at defensive tackle. So even when you think you know the roster, coming out of spring, these little tweaks, and I'm telling you, these two guys may end up making the biggest impact of anybody on the defense.
It's guys that, you come from Houston, you get into the summer program with these guys, you're around better athletes. What did we talk about earlier? I mean, competition makes you better. When Halsey shows up from Houston and he's going against these other guys that are brought in to be, he's got to win a spot. It's all about competition from the day he got here. So, I mean, competition is going to make these guys better. Gooden has been, heard nothing but great things. I mean, he's been, like you said, unblockable. Everybody raves about Halsey. I think the defense, I mean, there's no excuse this year. We talked about it in years past where you watch the game tape, and you're like, there's just not a lot of dudes out there. There's not the guys we used to watch playing. This is the first time I think that, that's not going to be the excuse.
And I think that the fresh legs that they're going to be able to have with that defensive line rotation, I think in the fourth quarter of games all year long, it's going to be a big thing. And I think when LSU gets to November, I think that this roster is going to be in better shape. You can sustain an injury. I mean, injuries are inevitable.
Yeah.
So they're not one injury away from a catastrophe. We've seen some of these years. Man, they lose one of these defensive tackles, God bless.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case. Talk to me about Bernard Gooden playing at, I'm going to say, roughly 270 pounds. They're talking about him starting, possibly, which is fine. I'm a touch concerned about his snap count getting too high at 270 pounds on the interior. He's going to be routinely going up against guys that are 40 to 50 pounds heavier than him, but he's been beating those guys.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it all depends on the style of offense you're playing. If you're getting a pass-heavy offense, it's a guy that's not going to be just ran into the ground. You're not going to take a lot of double teams where guys are pushing you, try to drive you back and making you the push point. But, we were talking earlier, to me, you can start all the way, that's fine. But, the big impact for me is, second and long, third down, a guy that can, he sounds a lot better, but what Suggs did last year, didn't get a lot of snaps, but when he came in on a third and long or second and long, he was a guy that was, electric off with the first step, got in the backfield and created some havoc.
In a third down, I can see a scenario where Patrick Payton comes into the game on the outside, or maybe Jamari Butler comes in the game on the outside, Pyburn kicks down, and then Gooden is there. That's a pretty fast defensive front against.
Oh, and don't forget about Harold Perkins coming off the side.
Oh, by the way, he's still there. As long as they manage Gooden's snap count. When you hear undersized, somebody asked me the other day, he's like Mekhi Wingo? I said, no, he's nothing like Mekhi Wingo. Wingo, he's a good 4 or 5 inches taller than Wingo was. Wingo was short, but he was thick. This kid's long and lean, but he is lightning quick.
No, I mean, and that's, he's got the perfect guy teaching him. Kyle Williams was always known as a more undersized defensive tackle. If you're going to learn from anybody, that Kyle Williams was an every down guy. So when I start thinking about being undersized and being worn down, Kyle wasn't. And if you're going to learn from anybody, that's the guy to teach you.
Can I tell you, I feel very good about Kyle Williams being on this coaching staff.
Oh, I love it.
Very good about Kyle Williams being on this staff. All right, talk to me about Whit Weeks. You've had every injury known to man. They're sort of easing up on the workload with him. We saw the ankle injury in the bowl game. I'm sure you've had something like this.
Ankle's probably the only thing I never had, but.
You're my medical guy because you can speak firsthand about it.
Oh, yeah. It's a thing that, I get lightening your workload. And he's also a junior. By the time you get to that back into your career there, they didn't run you into the ground as much. There's guys that, when their work ethic, their mindset, how they work in the film room, how they work in the weight room, how they do everything outside of practice, you can understand giving them a little bit more time off. I think it's something that, he's ready to roll. He's, to me, he's the most exciting person to watch on defense, and I completely understand it. Going into my senior year, I had a lot of days off just trying to keep my knees right, and trying to keep my hamstrings right. But everything else I've heard is it's a planned rest day. So as long as it stays in that planned rest day to where it's all part of the game plan, I feel good about it.
Same thing with Harold Perkins, who has missed almost no time. He had a personal day the other day, but has missed almost no time. The practices I've been to, I've watched him run if I didn't know he had an injury that ended last season, I wouldn't know. And I've seen him run in coverage, which has been really impressive because, oh, by the way, the guy's fast.
Yeah.
It will infuriate me to the end of my life that they spent 2 years trying to jam this guy to the inside when everybody was screaming, stop doing that.
Yeah.
But now that awful experiment is over, watching him on the outside, you're like, oh, yeah. I remember him.
The biggest difference is that there's about a 2.5 month time frame between their injuries. I mean,
that's true. Yeah,
he was
mid-season.
very early. Weeks was at the end.
Actually, before mid-season. Yeah.
And so and that might be why you're seeing he's on the field. He's had that extra 2 months, month and a half, whatever it is, to kind of go through things. And right now, I mean, everybody knows, and I think Blake Baker knows, Whit Weeks is important. He's the leader on that defense. He's the guy that is going to get everybody going, and they just got to make sure he's right.
And now we circle all the way back around to the guy. The one guy that they can't lose, which is Nussmeier. I think they could sustain an injury anywhere on this team and be okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to lose anybody, but like I said, it's football. There's going to be guys get hurt. When we had the little scare a couple of weeks ago, and everybody was like, what happened? You could see your entire season comes before your eyes. It's like, oh crap, they're going back to the Music City Bowl. But no, he was fine. I like Michael Van Buren as a backup. I think he's what I call a limited insurance policy.
Yeah.
If they need him for a game or 2 games or pieces here and there, if Nussmeier's dinged, okay. But if he has to play at Clemson or if he has to play at Alabama, I think that's probably going to be a bit much to ask. But Nuss is fine, and he's embraced all of this. He's embraced the leadership. He's embraced the changes that they've made to the offense. You harp on this all the time. You see, you guys won the national championship in 2007. You won it in the summer. Flynn did put all of the things together, and damn it, you had a great summer. And the next year you didn't, and 08 wasn't as good. Everything I can see is that Nussmeier has done all of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's not what you see from him, it's what you hear about from other players.
Yeah.
When you have a leader that's a quarterback, he demands that you're there in the summer. He's a guy that everybody shows up for because that's the one guy they don't want to piss off. That's the one guy that they don't want to disappoint. You feel, an obligation to support this guy. And when you don't have that leadership at quarterback, when the guy's not sure about it, I mean, no one is excited to get there. So, everything I've heard about Nussmeier, I mean, I watched the documentary on Netflix, which was pretty cool. And, Whit Weeks says that he's the leader of this team. I mean, he goes. And so when he's talking about him that way, you understand the type of leadership that Whit Weeks has. And then to say that, he's saying that, no, Nuss is the real leader of this team, I have all confidence that he got things done in the summer.
And you're going into about as hostile an environment as you can, playing just about as good a team as you can play. Any other quarterback, a younger quarterback, I'd be like, man, this is a really big ask. For Nussmeier, I think he's seen it.
He's seen a lot of big games.
Yeah, he's been in these big games, and he came back to win the whole thing.
That's what he came back for. I mean, this is, I'm not used to having so much focus on game one, and typically that kind of irritates me, but this is what they came back for. I mean, they're wanting to win every single game. Game one's big. The biggest conversation that's been around for the last 5 years is we haven't won a season opener. And, I think that they got the right people in place.
That may be mentioned next week a few times. We're brought to you by the Thibodaux Store and the Pierre Part Store. Thibodaux Store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, and the Pierre Part Store, Highway 70 in Pierre Part. If you're getting ready for tailgating, this is the places to go. All of your grills, all of your griddles, all of your crawfish pots, all of your jambalaya pots, all the way up to your big green egg cookers for your home outdoor kitchens, and all of the accessories that go with them are available at these stores. Look, this is a tailgater's dream to be able to go in here and get all of your supplies. A lot of these things you can get on the website at thethibodauxstore.com. Some of them are available for delivery. So get yourself ready for football season with your gear from the Thibodaux Store. Also for all your home improvement projects, they'll give expert advice so you're not wasting time and money. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, Highway 70, the Pierre Part Store in Pierre Part, and online, thethibodauxstore.com. Back to wrap up hour number 1, live at lunch from Ruffino's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Did you hear that?
That's the propane burner firing up another delicious outdoor seafood boil. I'm Miss Louisiana Gabrielle McLeod with some safety messages when cooking seafood outdoors. First, make sure your propane burner is at least 10 feet from anything flammable. Place thawed seafood in the pot, cover your shrimp, crab, crawfish, and fixings and leave 2 inches of space at the top of your pot. And don't forget the seasonings. Remove your seafood and set it aside so it drains. Then heat the water to the appropriate temperature. Turn the propane off at the tank and gently lower your pot using gloves or mitts. Then fire up your burner and cook as directed. Don't forget to turn off your burner before removing your seafood. Now sit back and enjoy another fabulous Louisiana feast. Fuel for our future. I'm Gabrielle McLeod, Miss Louisiana. For more delicious safety tips, go to louisianapropane.com.
Back to school is on the brain. That means new notebooks, pencils, new everything. And while the kids are getting ready to get book smart, it's time for you to save smart with Straight Talk Wireless. Switch now and get a free Moto G 2025 with 5G when you activate select plans. Now that's a smart call. Get Straight Talk covered by Verizon's 5G network. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Offer valid through 10/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Purchase of Gold Unlimited plan or higher required for offer. Must activate the plan in-store at Walmart. Cannot be combined with other offers.
Moms and dads, do you wish you could know where your kids' shoes are at all times? Now you can with Skechers' newest Apple AirTag compatible sneakers, Find My Skechers. There's a clever hidden AirTag compartment under the shoe's insole. It's sleek, secure, and your child can't feel or see it. Then you can check where your kids' shoes are on the Find My app. Plus, they're available for boys and girls. Get Find My Skechers at Skechers.com, a Skechers store near you, or wherever kids' shoes are sold. Apple AirTags sold separately.
Discover a new standard of luxury at Genesis in Baton Rouge. Picture this: valet and concierge services, all complimentary for 3 years or 36,000 miles. Yes, you heard right. Luxury has a new address. At Genesis in Baton Rouge, we believe in innovative technology, uncompromising safety, and the luxury experience you deserve. Ready to elevate your drive? Visit GenesisofBatonRouge.com today to explore our lineup and schedule your test drive. Luxury awaits.
Yes.
I'm going to dump immediately as soon as I sign off so that Jimmy can get hooked up. So tell him to do the promo.
Okay. He was just texting me about texting him at 10:55, and I was like, well, Hanny has to disconnect me.
As soon as I sign off, I'm disconnecting, so you'll have the full 5 minutes or pretty close to it.
I got you.
Okay.
Car, motorcycle, RV, clothing, housewares, or furniture you no longer use, please consider donating it to St. Vincent de Paul. This donation could get you a tax deduction. Visit svdpbr.org.
Back to school is on the brain. That means new notebooks, pencils, new everything. And while the kids are getting ready to get book smart, it's time for you.
Well, thank you, Richard. I appreciate that, man. You know, I ain't trying to eavesdrop.
we forgot you can hear.
Thank you.
Good thing I ain't talking trash.
Yeah.
You know, I was gonna be like, damn.
5G network. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Offer valid through 10/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Purchase of Gold Unlimited plan or higher required for offer. Must activate the plan in-store at Walmart. Cannot be combined with other offers.
Moms and dads, do you wish you could know where your kids' shoes are at all times? Now you can with Skechers' newest Apple AirTag compatible sneakers, Find My Skechers. There's a clever hidden AirTag compartment under the shoe's insole. It's sleek, secure, and your child can't feel or see it. Then you can check where your kids' shoes are on the Find My app. Plus, they're available for boys and girls. Get Find My Skechers at Skechers.com, a Skechers store near you, or wherever kids' shoes are sold. Apple AirTags sold separately.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
After hour number one, the last 2 hours of the show will be out from Las Vegas. Jimmy and Max out for Circa's big kickoff weekend for their contest. Our kickoff for Eat the Competition here at Ruffino's on Sunday night. 8 tickets remaining, and I think she just took a phone call, so maybe even less than that. 753-3458, 5-course meal on Sunday night. Gordy Rush and I will be giving a little presentation on LSU. Take questions from the audience. It's a fantastic event. 6 o'clock on Sunday night. Come on out. We got a few tickets left. 753-3458. Rich, all summer long, we've been hearing about Clemson. I'm delighted about the focus on the first game. I understand why they are doing things maybe a little bit differently to put more focus on it. Ball State got 6 games in the Southeastern Conference against ranked opponents after this, okay? I'm trying to set a backfire early that they lose this game, it's not the end of the world. They got to win 10 to get in the playoff, in my opinion. If you rank the degree of difficulty in all these games, Clemson's number 1. It's the highest ranked team they play, and it's a true road game. Alabama would be number 2. There's a lot of season here, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of meat on the bone. So if they do lose, and I hope they win, obviously, but if they do lose, there's plenty of season left.
And, we've seen the last 2 years when you lose the first game, we've typically bounced back pretty quick. I'm just looking forward to this one. I'm excited. It's a game that, I'm just fired up for. And, of course, look, I want to go out there and beat the hell out of Clemson because I just think they're kind of annoying to me. But, like you said, it's
Any
not
particular
gonna be,
reason?
Dabo's just kind of corny.
Okay. That's fine.
That's it.
I think that explain to everybody. And the other thing, if they win, you don't get to go straight to the playoffs. I mean,
you got to flush it really quick.
Yeah, you can't advance to go and okay, we'll see you in the quarterfinals. So anyway, all right. Thanks to everybody here at Ruffino's. Again, to eat the competition dinner on Sunday night. Restaurant opening up right now. Let's have a little lunch. We'll turn it over to the guys in Las Vegas for the Big Circle weekend. For Richard, I'm Charles, and for Jordan back in the studio, this has been hour number 1 of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch.
Monday at 2? Yeah. Okay. We'll get set up.
Monday at 2. They don't have anybody in the studio at that point? Oh, that's right.
We don't need that. We can go downstairs. So we're okay. All right, brother.
We're just gonna do kind of the preview and everything.
We're gonna go through position by position like we did last year, and probably 30 minutes, 35 minutes, something like that.
I feel good about everything other than just one offensive line spot. That's the only thing that.
I think it'll work itself out. I think there's enough talent there.
I think Weston Davis is gonna be the top.
I do too. And I think Kern's gonna be in it. If it was, this is my 5. Adams, Kern, Moore, Eccles, and Davis. That's not who's going to start game 1, but I think that's their best 5 at the end of the season. And I think Thompson is a real valuable piece because he played tackle at Northwestern as well. And we went to Northwestern, so you got to be smart, right? So he's kind of the swing guy. He's like your 6th lineman. And
I think when you put the good thing about Kern is when you're doing a lot of he's been playing both, but I get when he's saying there wasn't enough competition for a tackle.
Yeah.
And a lot of
Bordelon's running back up right tackle. He's too slender.
And you need coaches do it all the time because you get a little bit lazy when you know you got to set up. They're not grinding and stressing out. And when they see that, they're like, you go try to beat them.
Yeah.
You've got to push them.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, enjoy. Have a good weekend. I'll see you on Monday afternoon.
Jimmy's not here today?